Good morning, one and all. Welcome you all to the 14th webinar of IAPWC Goa. I, Dr. Smarnika Das, on behalf of the IAP technical team, welcome you all to this interactive session on eye care during the COVID times and beyond. We have with us Dr. Kaushik today, who is going to take the webinar, and moderator for today is Dr. Riddhi Sampath. So, without much delay, I would like to introduce Dr. Riddhi. Dr. Riddhi, please take over.
During COVID times and beyond by Dr. Kaushik Dhume, who is a consulting ophthalmologist at Memorial Hospital, Goa. Indian Association of Physiotherapy came up with Women's Cell 2 years back, and since then, there is no looking back. We have conducted awareness seminars, CMEs, free camps, and now webinars in this time of pandemic COVID-19. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, audible.
Yes. Indian Association of Physiotherapy came up with Women's Cell 2 years back, and since then, there is no looking back. We have conducted awareness sessions, CMEs, free camps, and now webinars in this time of pandemic COVID-19. Without wasting much time, I present to you our speaker of the day, Dr. Kaushik Dhume.
Thank you, Dr. Riddhi. I welcome you all on this wonderful Sunday morning. And I take this opportunity to thank Indian Association of Physiotherapists, Women's Cell Goa, for having me here today virtually and having me talk on eye care during COVID times and beyond. So, So that is how I look nowadays in my OPD, thanks to COVID, and I'm relaying this presentation live from Mars. That is my rover at the background. So I've decided to talk today, or make this presentation based on the frequently asked questions that I receive from my patients in the OPD. And these are the frequently asked questions. What is digital eye strain and how to take care of that? What are the different types of protective glasses which will help in reducing the strain? What are the different types of eye exercises and do they really help? The types of refractive errors. What are the different eye signs or symptoms that one should not take very lightly and report immediately to an eye specialist? Different types of foods, nutrients which are good for eyesight, and in general tips for healthy eye. And so COVID happened, and we had to innovate ourselves, we had to educate ourselves, we had to entertain ourselves. And so as per WHO, as of 25th April 2020, around 1.5 billion children have been out of school. And obviously these children had to continue doing the homeschooling, socializing, entertainment, and one second, socializing, entertainment, and all this from the confines of their home. So what happened? The screen time has tremendously increased. It has shot up by 100%. That means up to additional 5 hours of screen use has been added to one's regimen. And we say normally that 2 hours is like a cutoff. Uh, that is the upper limit. If you use a screen for more than 2 hours, it could be harmful to your eyes. And now we have not just those 2 hours, we have this additional 5 hours of extra screen use. And it is not only the children, it is also the adults, because they had to work from home, they had to entertain themselves, and all this has to be done from their screens. And so we had this initially, this is how it all began. And then we have the adults also jumping in. And then we had the grandparents jumping in. And then we had the entire family jumping in. So it's like evolution taking place in the opposite direction. So too much of anything is just that, it's just too much. Excessive screen time or gaming is not only harmful for the eyes, it also has its other health risks. For example, it affects a person's ability to focus and complete school tasks. It negatively impacts a person's relationships with family members and peers. It takes priority in a person's life over the basic functions such as eating, sleeping, hygiene, exercise, and it also causes significant changes in a person's mood or ability to control outbursts. For example, a child can become very aggressive when asked to stop the screen use. So let us talk a little more in detail about digital eye strain. It is also called as CVS or a computer vision syndrome. Well, this is not actually just a single thing. It is a group of related problems, and it can happen to anybody who is using a screen for a continuous time. It is not just like if you use it for 30 minutes or say 20 minutes that you get a eye strain. It only happens when you use it for a longer time. And what all symptoms do you get in this is that you get eye strain, you get headaches, you get blurred vision, dry eyes, and not only that, you also get neck and shoulder pain. So, what are the causes? Who can get digital eye strain? And what are the risk factors? So, not everybody, as I said, can get digital eye strain. If you are using your screens in poor lighting conditions, if there is glare on your digital screen from the sides, if you've been using your screens from improper distances, if you're viewing it from a far distance or too near, if your posture is not proper, if you have uncorrected vision problems to begin with, or a combination of all these factors. So, as I said, the greatest risk is for people who have been spending more than 2 continuous hours on the screen. For example, if you're using any particular screen for say 3 hours, but you use it for like 30 minutes, and then you've taken a break for 15 minutes, and then again 30 minutes, and then if you've been taking these breaks on and off, that won't cause digital eye strain. But it's only if you've been using it for more than 2 continuous hours, that's when you get it. And let's talk a little more in detail about why each of these risk factors are important. As children, we all know, we have, during our vacations, we have read Agatha Christie's, we have read Asterix, and we have read novels. And I even remember I have completed an entire novel in a single day. But we've never faced this problem as kids. We've never had this problem. So why now kids are complaining of this? That is because a digital screen is not same as a printed page. A printed page won't reflect light, so there's no glare. Also, the letters on the screen might not be well defined. There's always this problem of the background contrast, whether it's reduced, whether it's appropriate, and as I mentioned, glare and reflections make it more difficult. Quite often, this is what question I've been asked. Does reading in poor light cause lasting damage? Well, no, there is nothing, there's no evidence to say that. It does not cause a permanent decline in your eyesight. But, eye has muscles, to function. And just like any muscle in the body, the eye muscles also get tired when overworked. And then when put through, challenging situations like reading in a dim light, that's when obviously your eyes will get even tired more faster. And recently we've been all talking about this blue light, and how the blue light nowadays is so harmful for the eyes. Well, as we all know, the visible light that we all see is sandwiched between the ultraviolet spectrum and the infrared spectrum. And this visible light, as we know, is the VIBGYOR. We all know about it. And it is this small portion, the blue portion from this particular spectrum, is what is said to be harmful to the eyes. But then blue light is everywhere, isn't it? It's you open your windows and you get light coming in, and that has blue light. So blue light is not that bad at all. I mean, after all, blue light is beneficial. It keeps us to be attentive. It keeps us to be. It helps us to be awake, alert, and happy, and productive. And until fairly recently, there was a very fine balance between the natural light exposure during the day and darkness at the night. We used to do our works in the morning and then come home and sleep. But recently, what has happened is that there's this constant bathing in the artificial blue light that is happening. And where does this blue light come from? This blue light comes from your TVs, it comes from your mobiles, it comes from your computer screens, and it also comes from this modern LED lights that we have installed in our home. So also, it is not the eye which is affected by blue light. Blue light is also known to cause sleep disruption, and why that happens is because light, the normal daylight, it stimulates melanopsin, and melanopsin is a hormone for wakefulness. It helps us to be more productive in the day, helps us to be alert, and then night falls and there's darkness, and then darkness stimulates melatonin formation, and melatonin is a hormone for sleep. It helps us to sleep at night. So what is happening is, you are on the screen throughout the day, and then night falls, and then we are still on the screens, and blue light from these screens delay the formation of melatonin. Of course, because as I said, light stimulates melanopsin and it delays melatonin, and this melatonin and this delay in melatonin, sorry, increases alertness, and it resets the body's internal clock or the circadian rhythm to a later schedule. And this is what disturbs your sleep. So a lot of people do complain of sleep disorder when they are on the screen throughout the day. Not only that, blue light is associated also with retinal damage. It is something called as age-related macular degeneration. So we are humans, and humans are brilliant. They have solutions for everything. And then we came out with this beautiful thing called as blue light filtering glasses. And then you went to an optician, and the optician says, "Hey, uh, just wear this, blue light filtering glasses. It's a great way to combat your eye strain and the sleeplessness that comes with excessive screen time. Wear it throughout the day, and you are as fresh as a cucumber. And then you go back to sleep, and you'll have a very, you'll sleep like a log." So, is this true? I mean, are the blue light filtering glasses really worth the hype that has been created around them? Well, the American Association of Ophthalmology and the UK Academy of Optometrists do not think so. They do not recommend any type of special eyewear for any type of screen use. And what they say is that the problem is not with the blue light per se. The problem is because of overuse of the screen. It is not that a blue light or a green light. It is just the screen. You are using your screens too much. That is what is causing the problem. And they went to the extent of saying that, hey, don't spend your money on blue filters, just dump them. What you need to do is just reduce your screen time, or at the most, you can switch to your night mode. And I'll come to that a little later. And I'm in a soup because patients do come and ask me, "Doctor, please prescribe me some glasses because I have a lot of eye strain." And I tell them, I don't know. Somebody saying one thing, another guy saying another thing. And but there are a lot of patients whom I have given blue light filters, and it's just not me. It's so many of my colleagues, and I have received feedback. And my colleagues have received feedback saying, and my patients have come back saying, "Thank you, doctor. We are really happy. It really has helped us a lot." So what is this? Is this psychological? Is this just a placebo effect? Well, I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. But what I can definitely tell you is, if you want to wear blue light cutting filters and you do find a benefit, well, that's fine. Just use them. They do not harm you in any way. So before going, any shop and buying the blue filters, you need to know what kind of filters are available in the market. So there are three categories. One are just plain clear lenses. They'll just look like normal glasses. But when you look at them from an angle, you'll see this kind of a purple, a greenish, or a bluish reflection from it. And that's how you know they are blue filters. They don't cut all the blue light. They just cut about 5 to 30% of it, and that's good because, as I said, all the blue light is not so bad at all. You do require blue light to help you be productive throughout the day, and so you don't require to cut all of it. And these glasses are to be used by all those professionals, all those people, even students or people who are using a lot of screen. Uh, they are to be worn during the daytime. Don't wear during the evenings. I mean, they can wear during the evenings, but they are mostly for the daytime. And these are the most commonly used blue type of filters. And then we have these yellow tinted lenses, which filter about 50% of blue light. Not recommended for everybody. We usually recommend it for people who have a lot of high light sensitivity, who suffer from migraine, anxiety, depression. And these kind of glasses are to be used by those people who have difficulty in night driving when you have this extreme sensitivity from oncoming headlights. This to some extent do help. And then we have this amber or red tinted glasses, which block almost 100% of the blue lights. And again, we don't recommend it for everybody. We usually recommend it for people who have sleep disorders, who use excessive screen use, and who are on the screens mostly after sunset. So not everybody should be using this because this of course will also come with other problems, like they will decrease your eyesight and things like that. So only in limited cases do we recommend this. And then we are humans again, and we have to innovate ourselves once again. And the screen users were not far behind. They thought, okay, dump those blue filtering glasses. We will come out with our own way of tackling this problem. And they came out with this night and this dark mode. And what is night mode? Night mode is when you switch on to this mode on your device, the screen starts emitting more of warm colors. It reduces the blue light emitted from your screens. I have tried it. I think most of you must have tried it. It is comfortable. It does help, especially when the room is dark and you're using your screen. It is a little comfortable. Again, I don't know if it's just psychological, but most of the devices now have this option. You can always try it. It does help. And then again, we had the dark mode, which was the new kid on the block. It was supposed to be a magic toggle, the solution to everything, all the eye strain that you have. And what does happen in dark mode when you switch over to this? The screen background becomes completely gray or black, and the fonts become light color or white. So this was supposed to be the latest thing. But then if you just go back about 30, 40 years back, this is what we had. This is how it all began. I'm sure there must be a lot of engineers, a lot of other people who have used this kind of screens. So we did start with the dark screen to begin with, and then we came to the conventional mode, the light colored screens. And now people are saying you go, the guys are saying you go back to your dark screens. Um, so I don't know. They have just put up some kind of makeup on already existing screens, and they are saying this is the dark mode. So what's this entire fuss about? The dark mode. And the first is that the dark mode just looks so unnatural. I mean, just try reading the font which is on your left hand side of the screen, and the same fonts, the same thing is on the right hand of the screen. And at least to me, the one which is on the left is more easier to read. Of course, I don't know what it all means. I don't know what language it is written in, but it is more comforting to the eye. And the one which is on the right is a little stressful. And why is it stressful? That is because whenever you are focusing on any dark object, your pupil, which is in the center of your eye, it dilates, it becomes big. And then you have more light entering the retina, the eye, to accommodate for the darkness. But at the same time, when the pupil dilates, the sharpness goes. You have more blurred vision. It is something similar to the aperture of your camera. When the aperture of the camera is big, you have more light entering in, but at the same time, the images which are formed are blurred. But when you're looking at a bright object, the pupil is small, and so you have less light entering the eye, but the images which are formed are more sharper. So it's something that you have to decide. If the dark screens seem to be more comfortable to you, then please do use them. But if to me and for many people that I know, the conventional screens are much more comfortable to the eyes because they are much more sharper. And it's not just me, it's the prehistoric men who also thought so. These are some of the paintings which were found on in some of the caves out of France. And if you can see, we have all the pictures in the dark against a very light background. And this is something that it's also called as anti-reflective glasses. So it is helpful, yes, definitely. uh, am I audible to everybody? Am I audible?
Yes, doctor.
Okay. So, anti-reflective coating definitely reduces reflections from the surface. It cuts down the glare for which, the extra light which falls on the glasses. And it's better because more light enters the eye, not the reflections, more light enters the eye and the vision is sharper. And also, the eye looks more clearer. I mean, you can just compare this with this, it looks much more clearer. It definitely helps. So you can always get this coating done on top of your blue filters. Um, this is something that I wanted you all to know. Just like you have muscles all over the body, there are these muscles called as the ciliary muscle inside the eye, and which is very very important. So what happens is when an eye is focusing at a far point, something which is beyond 6 meters, the light which enters the eye gets reflected over here, and then it falls on the retina, and then you get an image there. Now, what happens when this far point comes nearer? For example, you're reading a book. The rays of light coming from this book will go, and it has to fall on the retina again. So what happens is this ciliary muscle here starts contracting, and that makes the lens of the eye to bulge, and that is why the image falls on the retina. So basically, what I want to say is when you are looking at any object which is at a distance, far distance, your lens or your ciliary muscles are relaxed. But at the same time, when you have to focus on any near object, your ciliary muscles are contracted. And, that's how, then that is called as accommodation. Okay. And why this is important is because after prolonged use of the screen, why do we get headache or why do we get eye ache? This is akin to, like, prolonged use of a screen is akin to sprinting without taking a break. If you have been running and running and running for 30 minutes and 40 minutes and 50 minutes and 1 hour and 2 hours, what happens without taking a break? What happens? Your muscles get start aching. So the same thing happens here. You are looking at a screen and the screen is at a close distance. So your ciliary muscles are constantly in a contracted position. So as a result, they get tired, and that's what gives you the headache, and that's what gives you the eye ache. So you need to relax your ciliary muscles intermittently, and that's where the rule of 20 is come into play. I think a lot of people must be knowing this. And what is the 20-20-20 rule? To help to prevent digital eye strain, what you need to do is every 20 minutes, every 20 minutes, just for 20 seconds, you need to take a break by looking away from the screen, look at any object which is more than 20 feet away. So basically, what you're doing is you're focusing from your near point to your far point, and that is when your ciliary muscles are relaxed, and you are giving it some time, to relax. And this is very, very important. It is especially important for IT professionals, whoever uses the screen, for 4, 5, 6 hours in a day. And nowadays, even the children, because they are continuously on the screen, studying, doing the homeschooling. Very, very important. Also, very important is how you sit and how you view your screen. The most comfortable position for a person is when the eye is not looking up, when the eye is not looking down, but the eye is looking a little bit down. So if you see, the upper level of the screen should be at the level of the eye, and that is when you will be looking a little down over here on the screen. The screen should be about an arm's length away, okay, not too far away, not too close. The chair should conform to the body and height so that your feet are lying flat on the floor. Um, yes, very important. If there is any reference material that you have to use, the reference material has to be just below the screen here. And if you don't have that space, you can just keep it on the side of the screen, but never keep it down on the table. That's because you're going to bend again and again, and that you're going to cause more harm to your neck and your back muscles. Okay. And yes, if ideally, if you're typing, then you should have an arm support, so that you have all, or you then have this 90 to 100 degrees of angle, and the wrists are in the straight line with the forearm. Okay. Very important is again a neutral head position here, and your shoulders should be relaxed and the back straight. A lot of my patients come to me not only with headache, but also complaining of neck problems and backache, and they relate it to the eyes. But actually, it's not directly related to the eyes. When you question them as to how you're keeping your screens, most of them will say, okay, we are keeping it on our lap, or we're keeping it somewhere down, or it's really high. So you are flexing your muscles, your neck muscles. You're either looking down, either looking up, and you get a neck pain. And it's a very simple solution. Just keep your screen so that it's not too up, it's not too down, it's just at the level of your eye, and that it just it's so very easy. So also one more very important is screen use. You should all know that screen use causes dry eyes. Tears are not just tears. It's not just fluid which is in the eye, which just keeps coming and keep going. Uh, Eye without tears is like a flower without water, or a car without oil. You need constant lubrication. You have this tear film right on top of your eye, and if there is somebody who has tear film deficiency, it's just like it's so dry in the eye. And why this is important to know is because when you are using your screens, we blink 66% less than when we are not using it. And what happens in this is your tear film gets dried up. And most of us nowadays are using ACs, and air conditioners reduce humidity. So that makes the situation even worse. So, what are symptoms of dry eyes? You will have itchy eyes. You will have red eyes. You'll have this gritty feeling, something poking inside the eye, a foreign body sensation, eye ache, and a lot of these patients say when we splash water in the eyes, it really feels very nice. So, most important thing, the symptoms of dry eye is mostly noticed in the later half of the day. That's because you have used your screen for 3, 4 hours, and then you've blinked 66% times lesser, and then your eyes are dry. And so that's why it is more evident in the later half of the day. That's when you feel tired and your eyes feel gritty. Okay, so it's very simple. When you're using your screens, try to blink very frequently. It's easier said than done. Obviously, we won't remember to blink, now and then. So very important. If you have air conditioners, or if you have fans and with air blowing directly into your face, and this also happens very often when you're in your car and the air is blowing directly onto your face. Keep the vents away so that the flow of the air is not directed onto your face. Use humidifiers. This really helps. A lot of patients do say that we keep a humidifier, and this does really help, especially if you are sitting in a air conditioned room. Take frequent breaks. I already mentioned rule of 20s. And last but not the least, we have, the option of tear substitutes. There are hundreds of them. You can just buy them over the counter. They are just harmless drops. You can just use it as long as you like. It's up to you to use it. And the next question that I frequently get asked in the this thing is eye exercises. Do eye exercises really help? For vision for protection of vision. Well, to tell you the truth, no credible evidence to prove that they improve vision. So what does that mean? That means that if you are somebody who has been using spectacles for your vision, or if you have cataract or glaucoma or any other retinal problem and your vision is less, doing eye exercises won't go back. I mean, it won't help you to get rid of your blurring of vision, or it won't help you to get rid of your glasses, but it definitely helps to reduce your eye strain. So your eyes will feel more comfortable if you're getting irritated at work. And then, there are so many of them. 20 is just one of it. You have this eye rolling exercises in which you look you keep you sit straight and you look with your eyes up, and then you roll it to the sides, to the left, and you roll it down, and you roll it to the sides again to your right side, and you go back. And this is like it's one rep, and then you keep doing this. Okay, the another thing is eye cupping. Eye cupping is when you just close your eyes with your cusp of your palm, and like this, and the darkness which forms, you have to look into the darkness, okay, with your eyes open, and then keep looking there, and you remove your those cusps, and you'll feel that your eyes are so relaxed. One more thing is, just rub your hands like this, and once they're warm, just keep it on your eyes. Of course, these are COVID times, so these things you can do only if you're when you're home and when your eyes and your hands are absolutely clean. Otherwise, you'll be introducing more infection in your eyes, doing more harm than not. Okay, eye press is another thing wherein you take your fingers and you keep them pressed over the eye. Keep it pressed for about 4 5 seconds. Remove them. Just wait for the blur to go, and you'll feel as if your eyes are reset. Zooming is when you hold your thumb outstretched like this, and you get it slowly keep getting it closer and closer and closer till you start seeing double. Okay, then you go back and then you do that. Near and far focus is when you keep your thumb like this close to your eye, and then suddenly you shift your gaze from this to any object which is at a distance. Then you look over there for 2 3 seconds, and then you come back to this. So you alternate your gaze. So basically you're relaxing your you're exercising your ciliary muscles. Figure of eight and writing messages on the wall is basically as if you are trying to write messages onto a far wall with your eyes. So you just keep writing anything with your eyes. So from up down, and so basically you're just writing some alphabets or numbers on the wall with your eyes. So everybody knows to know what are refractive errors. Refractive errors are when you have some sort of blur which has to be corrected with the help of glasses or contact lenses. Uh, Normal vision is when the eye length, that is from the front to the back, is about 23 to 24 millimeters. And then when, as I already mentioned, the rays of light fall on in through the cornea, this is the lens, and then it is refracted back onto the retina. The length of the eye at birth is about 17 to 18 millimeters, and then as the child grows till the age of 21 years, the eye keeps growing, and then it stops growing. And so, what are the different types of refractive errors? We have myopia or nearsightedness, in which the eye is longer than with what it should be. So, if the image on the retina has to form over here, because the eye is longer, the image forms just in front of the retina. So, a person cannot see things from far away, but when you come closer to that object, it becomes more clearer. And how do you treat it is with the help of something called as concave lenses or minus lenses. This, the opposite, is something called as hyperopia or farsightedness. What happens here is the eye should be 23 millimeters, but actually the eye become is shorter, so it's less than 23 millimeters. So whatever image has to fall on the retina, in this case, it forms behind the retina. All right. So things appear blurry. Almost everything appears blurry, but it appears more blurry when the object is near, okay, close by. And this is corrected by using convex lenses or plus lenses. And the third thing is something called as presbyopia. I think most of us must have gone through this. Anyone who is about 40 years of age or nearing 40. So what happens is here the ciliary muscle, which I talked about already, starts getting weaker. And so any object, when you have to focus on any object which is close by, the muscles stop to contract. And so what happens is the image which is supposed to form over here, because the ciliary muscles are not working, the image is formed somewhere at the back. All right. So how is this treated? This is treated with the help of again plus lenses. You start with normally zero point 0.5 powered lenses, and then as you keep aging, because the ciliary muscles progressively become more and more weak, you have to gradually increase the power. So from zero point 0.5, it can go up to plus 3. So usually every 2 years or 2.5 years, you will need a change in these glasses. Okay, so you must have all realized the moment you reach 40, suddenly you start feeling that I cannot read it as clear as I used to about 2 years back. You have to hold the object a little far away, and that's when it becomes more clearer, and that is presbyopia for you. So, some things that you all need to know, I already mentioned. Never touch your face or eyes at work with your fingers. Your fingers are a source of all types of infection, fungus, virus, bacteria. You will introduce your infections into your eye. I before COVID started, I used to be absolutely sure never to touch my eyes. At least when I was in the OPD, I used to do this if at all I had to rub my eyes. And now after COVID, you should not even think of getting your hands anywhere closer to your face. Don't forget, you are using a lot of sanitizers nowadays, and sanitizers has alcohol. They have a lot of other, all sorts of chemicals, and you will be introducing chemicals into your eyes. So absolutely, don't ever touch your eyes. Also, when you frequently touch your eyes, you can get dark circles. Dark circles are basically micro injuries to blood vessels inside the skin around the eye, and that's what causes the dark circles. And also your eyes, your fingers might be having some allergens on it. If you keep touching it again and again, you can cause chronic allergies. All right. So a few things that you should know, and we should not be too concerned that it is that they are related to the eye disorders. Neck pain. Yes, I did mention that neck pain can happen if you're not using a correct posture, or you're not having a proper this weaving angle. But neck pain is not directly connected to the eye, right? Giddiness is one more thing. No eye problem will give you giddiness. Okay, no, nothing. As in, giddiness can happen because of neck issues, because of blood supply to the brain, otherwise. But no, it cannot happen because of eyes. Only thing that I can think of is, somebody having double vision. Uh, they can have a little bit of confusion, but no giddiness. Giddiness is when it all spins around. That cannot happen because of eyes. Severe headache cannot happen because of eyes unless the eye pressure is very high. Most of the times the headache will be in the frontal region here. It will be a mild kind of a aching kind of a pain, not severe headache, unless the eye pressure is very high. um, Loss of consciousness is again not because of eyes, and visual hallucinations again it is not because of the eye. Okay, so if anybody is having these things, you should first go to a different kind of a specialist, and then maybe the ophthalmologist is the last resort. And yes, your toothache is not the reason for your eye ache, because a lot of people do say, I have a toothache, and then I thought, I have an eye ache, and probably it's because of that. No, toothache cannot give you an eye ache, never. And well, these are some things that you should definitely know. 7 symptoms that you should not ignore, which are related to the eyes, and which should make you go to the eye specialist as soon as possible. Sudden loss of eyesight. Okay, this is the most important thing. Immediately rush to your doctor. Redness around the eyes is something that you should know, all know about. And there are two types of redness. One is a conjunctival congestion. Conjunctival congestion is when, this is the cornea, okay, the gray or the black part. If the congestion is somewhere far away, somewhere closer to the eyelids, as in this case, this is called as a conjunctival congestion. This is a relatively safer type of congestion. Okay, so again, I'm saying this in brackets, uh, safe as in relatively safe. Okay, you do still have to see a doctor, but maybe you can go in a day or two. But if you have something like this, you know, this is called as circumcorneal congestion. When the congestion is localized to the area around the cornea. Okay, this is something which you have to immediately go to a doctor. Okay, another one more once again, congestion which is far away from the cornea, and if you see over here, congestion around the cornea. So photophobia is when you're not able to look at light. Blepharospasm is when your eye just doesn't want to open. Okay, it is just tightly shut. Sudden floaters and flashes of light. Now I think there are so many people who have this, things floating around. You'll see them. You usually see them around against a whiter background. Even I have this. Okay, but what happens is, if there are a sudden increase in floaters, or if you didn't have floaters and then one fine day you suddenly have floaters, that is when you have to rush to a doctor. If you have been just seeing two or three all this while, and then one fine day you see 10 all of a sudden, that's when you have to see a doctor. Okay. And then flashes of light. Flashes is like when you see this kind of flashing around. It could be in the center, it could be somewhere in the sides, it could be in dark, it could be in light. Okay, that is when you have to see a doctor immediately. Severe eye pain with headache, which could be a sign of glaucoma, any ocular trauma or chemical splash, you have to immediately rush to a doctor. And what you should not do in case of an emergency: never put any sort of liquid in the eye other than water or eye drops. Okay, never put oil, milk, saliva, rose water, coriander water, and no other type of water other than normal tap water. Okay, rose water, lot of people use in the eyes. They say some irritation, I put rose water and it got worse. Of course, rose water is not to be put in the eyes. Rose water is for external use only. Rose water can just be applied over some cotton or something and put with your eyes closed. Never put it inside the eye. Anything that you put in the eye, any organic substance like milk or saliva or whatever oil, may contain fungi, bacteria, virus, which can cause irreparable damage to the eye. Okay, so never put anything in the eye. Seek urgent consultation. We have all been at home since the lockdown, and we have been trying to, fix our taps and do all the electrical work by ourselves. My humble request to you all: do wear a protective gear when you're doing this, because even a small foreign body enters the eye, it can cause irreparable damage. Okay, if any foreign body does enter the eye, wash with copious water. Try to visualize it and remove it with a bird if it's very superficial. If it appears to be stuck on the cornea, do not attempt to remove it, because you might just scratch the cornea and cause more damage. Make sure that the earbud that you're using is very clean, and never rub the eye. Okay, I'll come to this a little later. Why? As I said, anything which involves particles, flying objects, dust, chemicals, or there's a chance of injury, wear safety gear. This is easily available anywhere. Any glass shop you go to, you will easily get this. Okay, it is just a zero numbered protective eye gear. And just a few illustrations on how foreign body looks like. See, if this is a superficial foreign body stuck over here, okay, this is something not very dangerous. You can easily remove it. But something like this is a small foreign body. It is a very small foreign body. It is probably some 1/10 of a millimeter. And if it is on the side like this, it is not so harmful, because once you removed it, you might get a scar here, okay, which is away from the pupil, and the pupil is the most sensitive area because the light goes to the pupil. So it's not such a big issue. Okay, but something like this, when the foreign body is stuck right in the center of the pupil, what happens is you might get a scar right in the center here, and a scar right in the pupillary area will definitely cause a lot of problems with vision. Okay, even a very faint scar in the pupillary area might cause problems with eyesight. So foreign body, make sure that you immediately go to a doctor and get it removed. Sometimes a foreign body can get stuck here, just below the eyelid. And I have seen a lot of patients who say, I have tried rubbing it, and then it has not come out and it has caused more problems. Obviously, because the foreign body, when you rub, will cause abrasions over the cornea here, scratches over the cornea, and that is more dangerous. It will cause more harm. So never rub your eye if you think there is a foreign body inside. At the most, you can just wash it with copious water. And if it doesn't help, please go to your eye doctor. Okay, so one more very important thing and very commonly asked question, doctor, what should I eat so that my eyes stay healthy? And let me say here that you do not have to eat anything specially for your eyes to be healthy. If you are having a very healthy, well balanced diet and you're eating everything properly, that's about it. You don't have to pick out your eyes and eat specially for the eyes, and you have to pick out something, for your muscles and for your brain, and then do that. Everything that you normally have, a healthy diet has everything in it to take care of your eyes. But this is just for theoretical knowledge. If at all you want to know what to eat the rainbow. What do I mean when I see eat the rainbow is anything that which is colored, red, yellow, green, orange, anything which has a lot of antioxidants are healthy for the eyes. Green leafy vegetables, legumes, nuts, seeds, fish, citrus fruits, dairy products, and eggs, absolutely healthy for the eyes. And what are this, what all things do this contain and what is healthy for the eyes is lutein and zeaxanthin, uh, very powerful antioxidants, very good for the eyes. Vitamin A, C, and E, beta carotenes, omega-3 fatty acids, and zinc. These are the nutrients which are absolutely healthy and very absolutely necessary for the eyes. Okay, tips for healthy eyes in general. Again, your eye is a part of a body, so you don't have to do something special to keep them happy. You keep your body happy and your eye is happy. Okay, so stop smoking, your body is happy, your eyes are happy. Maintain good weight, maintain a healthy lifestyle. Multivitamins and supplements, a lot of people ask me, should I be taking this? And I tell them, if you're eating healthy, if you're eating good diet, if you're having good diet, then just dump those vitamins. You don't require anything artificial for your body unless your diet is poor. And that's when you need to take them, but otherwise just keep them away. Yes, if you have some systemic disorders like blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, these are things which can cause irreparable damage to your retina and your eyesight. So make sure that these things are under control. And last but not the least, wear sunglasses when you're going out in the sun. Ultraviolet rays is one of the most damaging things that could happen to your retina. So I tell this to all my patients: wear sunglasses. Sunglasses just not to look good. Sunglasses are required to help you protect from the ultraviolet rays. And when you pick up your sunglasses, make sure that they are just not tinted glasses, but they have written over the label saying UV protection. Okay, UVA, UVB, UVC protection. If your label doesn't mention that it has ultraviolet protection in it, they are just plain tinted glasses. Don't buy them. All right. The color of sunglasses doesn't matter. It might be green, red, blue, whatever. Any color is fine. Bigger the sunglasses, better, because you have a larger area which covers, the eye. Darker doesn't mean better. It might be just a very light colored sunglass or a very dark one. It should have UV protection mentioned on it. That's when it is protected. Okay, polarized glasses. Polarized glasses are not UV protected. Polarized glasses just cuts the glare, but they are not UV. So make sure they are UV protected if they are polarized. And expensive doesn't matter. You might have something worth, costing you 500 rupees and something which is 10,000 rupees. As long as they are UV protected, they are just fine. And yes, if possible, wear hats, wear caps when you're going out in the sunlight. It really does help. Okay, so I hope you all are awake, and if you're not awake, this is the last slide of the webinar. Please do wake up. Thank you so much. Hello.
Thank you so much, doctor. Now we have Dr. Pooja who would be taking certain questions from you, which has been raised by the audience.
Yeah.
Morning, doctor.
Yes. Tell me.
Doctor, we have our first question, and
Yeah.
our audience, one of our audience, want to ask that how can one maintain the time for eye during work
How can you maintain the time for? I
for
didn't get
your
the question.
eyes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the question is how one can maintain a particular timing for your eyes during a continuous work hours.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, 20 to 30 minutes is what you have to keep in your mind. So, you can just keep track of the time on your screen, or if you have a watch, you can just look at the screen. And, every 20 to 30 minutes, just look away from the screen just for about 15 seconds and then get back to your work. You don't even have to get up from your seat. Or if it really you keep forgetting about that, you can keep an alarm every 20 minutes so that it rings 20 30 minutes, and that's how you should take care. The idea is not just it should be absolutely 20 or 30 minutes. The idea is keep taking breaks, so 30 40 minutes, it could go to 40 minutes, that's fine, but as long as you're taking the breaks, your micro breaks, your pit stops, it's fine. I hope I answered that question.
Yes, doctor, very well.
Mhm.
And here goes the second question. How often do you recommend that one should go for a comprehensive eye examination?
All right. So this is this question. It's a good question. See, if you're somebody who's less than 40 years and you have no risk factors in the sense that there's no diabetes, hypertension, you're absolutely healthy, and you don't have any glasses, I would suggest once in 2 years is just fine. Okay, but somebody over the age of 40 or 45 years, I would suggest at least once in a year because your eye number could keep changing. Also, it also depends on whether you have any risk factors or not. Like somebody who's having diabetes or hypertension do need a very regular checkup. So at least once in a year, if it's kind of a mild version of a disease. But if somebody has already an eye problem because of diabetes or hypertension, for example, who has an retina issue, then depending on the severity, the doctor himself will tell you to come once in 4 months or 6 months or even a year. But for a comprehensive eye checkup, I would say about 40, 45 years, once in a year. If it's less than 40 years and if you're absolutely healthy, once in 2 years is just fine. I would definitely recommend if it's a child, I would definitely recommend, you get your child, checked up, even if the child is not complaining, because the child usually will not complain. Some people have very poor, some children have very poor eyesight in one eye and absolutely good vision in the other eye, and the child won't realize that the child is that he's looking with one eye and not using the other eye. In such situations, what happens is the eye becomes lazy. It is called as amblyopia. Okay, and you don't realize it till the child becomes big enough, and he is good enough to complain to the parent. So as a rule, I would definitely suggest, maybe after say once in 2 years or so for a child, at least once the child has reached 3 years or 4 years, get him checked, so that we know there is a number, there is no number. If the child doesn't have a number, then maybe after 2 years. But if the child already has glasses, then you need to frequently change because the child's eye keeps, growing throughout his this thing as he keeps growing and he keeps becoming bigger, his eye shape keeps changing. So the number of a child's spectacle might keep changing very frequently as compared to relative to in an adult. So maybe slightly more frequently in a child, like every 6 months or maybe once in a year. But otherwise, just once in 2 years is fine.
Yes, thank you so much, doctor. You answered in such a nice, detailed way. So, the next question is, what age one should get the laser surgery done?
I if if I'm not mistaken, this laser is probably what you're talking about is laser refractive laser surgery, in which you get rid of your number, you get rid of your spectacles, because lasers are different types. You have lasers for glaucoma, cataract. I'm not talking about that. If you are asking me about lasers to get rid of the glasses, the ideal age would be say after 20 or 21 years, because that's when your eye has stopped growing, and whatever number you have in your eyes is stable. Okay, so it should not be increasing. So you have checked your number 1 year back and it was say -1, and now this year it is -2, then you definitely have to wait for another 2 years to see whether that -2 is not increased, whether it's increasing or not. If it is stable, then yes, after 21 years you can do it. See, laser surgery can be done at any age, okay? But the idea is to have a glass-free, a glass-free period, so that people can enjoy the glass-free period for at least some years. So now somebody having glasses of say -2 gets the laser done at say 22 years or 23 years of age, till he reaches 40 years, and that's when he's going to develop presbyopia, as I mentioned. That's when he's going to require glasses for reading. So at least for 20 years he'll be glass free. But now suppose you're 35 or 37 years of age and you decide to get rid of your glasses at that age. Maybe from 35 to 40 you'll have a period where you're glass free, and then again after 40 years you're again going to require glasses. So earlier the better, obviously. But any age, any age.
Doctor, we have our next question, and that is, in presbyopia, what happens once the number becomes +3? What will be what after that?
Okay, so you don't have to worry, it won't increase more than 3, because +3 is like the maximum number that usually is given for presbyopia. Your ciliary muscles don't get weaker than that. That is the maximum number that will be required by you in your life, whether you're 60 years of age or 80 years of age. +3 is the maximum number that is required for correction of presbyopia. We don't give any number, maybe 3.25 max, but that's like really if you really want to see something very close by. But it doesn't go above 3. So stop worrying.
Thank you, doctor. The next question is, if in post-COVID, the patient complains of itchy eyes and the burning sensation in the eyes, what will be your advice on it?
Okay, so post-COVID, in the sense somebody who has already was positive with COVID, was that what it meant, or?
So,
um
already tested positive and recovered from it.
Okay, so see, post-COVID, there is no evidence to say that of course, COVID nowadays, any symptoms, new symptoms developing, you correlated to COVID, but there is no credible evidence to say that COVID does cause dry eyes or something. Uh, a lot of people do develop red eyes to begin with. They have conjunctivitis and then they go on to develop symptoms of COVID. But after COVID, usually, people don't complain of dry eyes or something like that. Probably it is just a coincidence that the person has, dry eyes, and to begin with, and then post COVID, it has got a little worse. But if at all somebody does have dry eyes post COVID, I would just say, after a proper checkup by an ophthalmologist, if everything is okay, you can just use any of the dry, tear substitutes, which we use for normal dry eyes.
Okay, thank you, doctor. Sir,
Yeah.
doctor, our next question is, does the contact lens harm our eyes? And as a young generation, do occasionally rub their eyes with the contact lenses on. So does that cause any harm?
Oh yes, definitely. Contact lenses are definitely good. You know, they optically and even cosmetically they look good, but contact lenses, you have to be absolutely careful with contact lenses, because one thing is it's like a foreign body on top of your eye, and the cornea is a very delicate tissue. Okay, so any infection that you introduce uh, could cause irreparable damage to your cornea. So you have to be absolutely sure that you're taking good care of your contact lenses. Do not wash them with plain water. You have to wash them with the proper solutions that come with the contact lenses for to clean. Do not extend the wear of contact lenses beyond 7 or 8 hours, because the cornea is it is a vascular tissue. There is no blood vessels there. Whatever nutrients it gets and whatever oxygen it gets from the atmospheric oxygen. So when you wear a contact lens on top, you are basically cutting off the oxygen from the atmosphere, and you have to remove the contact lens so that the cornea receives its oxygen. Okay, so that is one thing. Second thing is, of course, some people do have a lot of sensitivity to the solutions that are used to, clean the contact lenses. So that can cause irritation, dry eyes. So not everybody is a good candidate for contact lens users. If somebody has a lot of irritation, dry eyes, then I would definitely suggest against wearing contact lenses. And this is something that only your ophthalmologist will be able to, tell you whether you're fit or not. By and large, everybody is okay, but there are some circumstances where there's a lot of dry eyes, a lot of allergic conjunctivitis, and these are conditions which we usually advise against the use of contact lenses. And yes, again, as I said, as it is, not only when you're using contact lenses, even otherwise, you should not be rubbing your eyes because you're introducing a lot of infection. And on top of contact lenses, if where you're wearing contact lenses and you're rubbing, you are introducing infection, and that infection might sit below the contact lenses onto the cornea. So, absolutely a bad idea to do.
Yes, thank you, doctor. Doctor, we have our next question asking, are photochromatic glasses UV protective?
No. Well, photochromatic glasses have got some pigments in it, which turn dark when you go out in the sunlight, or when it's too bright. So the pigments inside, they become dark, and as a result of which they become more tinted. And when you're in the dark, they become less tinted. So photochromatics are basically just glasses which help to reduce the light sensitivity when you're out. So the contrast is better, but that doesn't mean that they're UV protected. But you can get a form of photochromatic glasses UV protected by telling your optician to get the UV protection, screen on top of it. But as a rule, by and large, if you just go and buy photochromatic lenses, they might not be UV protected. So all this,
Thank you,
what I
doctor.
mentioned, UV protection, then there is blue light filters, the anti-glares. These are just coatings which are put on top of your lenses. Photochromatic lenses are the lens. It's the lens itself. The pigments is inside inside the glass, or inside the lens itself. And all the other things, the UV protection, the ARC, the blue filters, they come on top. They come as layers on top of the glasses. So you have to tell your optician to get it done.
Okay. Thank you, doctor. Doctor, we
Mhm.
have our next question from our audience. Uh, one of the audience wants to ask that which eye drops should be used for an eye strain.
Okay, so as I already mentioned, there are hundreds of tear substitutes which are available, and they come out in all types of shapes and in all sorts of forms. And there are so many different types of constituents there. Carboxymethyl cellulose, HPMC, glycerin, so many things. So the most commonly prescribed, eye drops which we give, which are usually given, for mild cases, is carboxymethyl cellulose, or CMC. It is called. There are different companies which manufacture them. I'm obviously for legal reasons, I'm not going to name any particular brand here. But if you go to any ophthalmologist, he will easily be able to prescribe. And even if you are not able to go because of COVID or any other reason, If you just go to any any pharmacist and tell them you want tear substitutes, make sure you say tear substitute. Make sure you don't say an antibiotic, because they'll give something else. uh, you can just say CMC, carboxymethyl cellulose. That's the most commonly given, prescribed and tear substitute. CMC, carboxymethyl cellulose.
Thank you, doctor. And doctor,
Yeah.
we have today's last question. That is,
Uh-huh.
how can one treat glaucoma?
Oh, that's a big. That is something that we might not be able to cover in such a short span of time. Glaucoma is a huge. It's a big disorder. There are different types of glaucomas. There are primary, secondary glaucomas. It all depends on what type of glaucoma it is, whether it's primary, whether it's secondary, what is the severity. But what I can say is, usually glaucoma is when the eye pressure, goes high. The eye pressure, the normal eye pressure, the cutoff is say around 21 of mercury. Anything above that is labeled as, high eye pressure. So the bottom line is that we try to reduce the eye pressure, okay, from whatever the patient has presented, and that can be done with various methods, with eye drops, with lasers, with different types of surgeries. So that is a huge topic, and I think we might not be able to answer that in a short span of time.
Okay, no issues,
Yeah.
doctor. Doctor, there is one more question right now. How the diabetes affect the eyes?
Again, a huge topic, but what we should know is that diabetes is basically a disease which affects the blood vessels. Okay, and then we have blood vessels inside the eye as well. What I'm not talking about blood vessels which you can see from outside in the conjunctiva, but blood vessels which are there in the retina. And the retina is, mind you, it's a very delicate organ. It is an outpouching pouching of the brain. So the retina is a nervous tissue. Okay, it's a neural tissue. I think most of you must be knowing that whenever there is any damage to the nervous tissue, the neural tissue, it is irreparable. Okay, because if there is damage to your skin or a muscle, it probably regrows, but a neural tissue will never regrow. Okay, a central nervous tissue, that is. So what happens is, when there is uncontrolled diabetes, the blood vessels inside the retina, they kind of burst, they start leaking fluid in the retina, and that is what causes the damage to the retina. Yes, it's a very grave problem, because we have a pandemic of diabetes now over the world, and I think India is leading in that. And on that front, there are so many patients of diabetes, and there are so many patients with diabetes who come in daily, with eye problems. And very sad to say that a lot of these patients, do go blind if they are not taking proper care of their diabetes. So a patient with diabetes and hypertension, absolutely, once in 6 months at least, if possible, get your eyes checked, whether you have any problem or no problem. Because only an ophthalmologist, when he peeps into your eye and he checks your retina, he'll be able to tell you what is the status of your retina. Um, it's a very grave problem.
Thank you so much, doctor. Thank you for
Hmm.
answering all our questions.
Thank you.
Now I would like to call Dr. Lavi for giving the vote of thanks.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Good afternoon, one and all. I, Dr. Lavi Jain, State Sub Coordinator from IAP Women's Cell Goa State Team, would like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Kaushik Dhume sir for giving valuable talks to our IAPWC Goa branch on eye care during COVID times and beyond. We are obliged to have you will with us for taking out your time and giving us such a wonderful presentation through this webinar. Would like to thank all the delegates for making this webinar a successful event. I would like to thank the whole team of IAPWC Goa for organizing this event. Last but not least, I thank the IAP technical team for the support Dr. Pooja Kamble ma'am, Zonal Head, West Zone, for her constant guidance, and Dr. Sanjeev Jha sir, President of IAP, and Dr. Ruchi Vaishnav ma'am, National Head IAPWC, for proving us with this virtual platform to reach out to the entire physiotherapy community. Regards IAPWC team Goa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dhume, for giving us your valuable time even on a Sunday and making it worth. I would like to thank all the attendees here for joining us, and we'd like to sign off now. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great day.